Arjun lived in a small, dusty town surrounded by rolling hills and vast fields. The town was quiet, with narrow roads that twisted through clusters of houses made from brick and mud. Life here wasn't easy for anyone, but it was especially hard for Arjun. At 17 years old, he had already taken on responsibilities far beyond his age. His father had passed away when he was just 10, leaving him as the sole breadwinner for his family alongside his mother, who sold vegetables by the roadside every evening. Every day began early for Arjun. By sunrise, he would be at the local construction site hauling bricks, mixing cement, and doing whatever odd jobs came his way. His hands were calloused, his back often ached, and his clothes were patched up more times than he could count. But despite all this, Arjun never complained. He carried himself with dignity, always wearing a tired but genuine smile. People in the town admired him for his hard work and kindness. Even though they themselves struggled to make ends meet, many noticed how Arjun went out of his way to help others whenever he could. One sweltering afternoon, after finishing his shift at the construction site, Arjun decided to take a shortcut home. The sun blazed overhead, turning the dry earth beneath his feet into a furnace. As he walked past the bus stop near the edge of town, something caught his eye. A woman sitting on the curb, clutching her stomach and looking visibly distressed. She was heavily pregnant, her face pale and drenched in sweat. Her eyes darted desperately toward passing vehicles, hoping someone would stop to help, but no one did. Most drivers sped by without even glancing in her direction. Arjun hesitated for a moment. He wasn't sure if he should get involved. After all, he barely had enough energy left to walk home himself, let alone assist someone else. But then he remembered what his mother used to tell him. If you see someone struggling, don't turn away. God gives us two hands so we can lend on to those in need. Taking a deep breath, Arjun approached the woman slowly. "Are you okay, ma'am?" he asked gently, crouching down to her level. The woman looked up, startled at first, but then relief washed over her face. I need to get to the hospital," she stammered, wincing as another wave of pain hit her. "My baby, something's wrong." Without wasting another second, Arjun sprang into action. He flagged down a passing rickshaw, helping the woman climb inside carefully. When the driver demanded payment up front, Arjun fished out the last few coins he had in his pocket. Money he had planned to use to buy groceries for dinner. It wasn't much, but it was enough to cover the fare to the nearest hospital. As they bumped along the uneven road, the woman tried to thank him repeatedly. "You didn't have to do this," she said weakly, tears glistening in her eyes. "No, one else stopped for me." "It's nothing, really," Arjun replied, brushing off her gratitude with a shy smile. "Just focus on staying calm. Everything will be fine." When they finally reached the hospital, Arjun helped her out of the rickshaw and escorted her to the entrance. Nurses quickly rushed to her side, wheeling her into the emergency room. Before disappearing behind the doors, the woman grabbed Arjun's hand tightly. "Please tell me your name," she pleaded. "And is there any way I can repay you?" Arjun shook his head firmly. "My name is Arjun," he said softly, "and there's no need to repay me. Just take care of yourself and your baby." With that, he turned and walked away, not realizing that this brief encounter would change his life forever. On his way home, Arjun couldn't shake off the feeling that something extraordinary had just happened. Maybe it was the desperation in the woman's voice or the sheer exhaustion etched on her face. Whatever it was, he felt a strange sense of connection to her, as though their paths crossing wasn't just coincidence. Little did he know, this stranger was far more than she appeared to be. Back at home, Arjun found his mother waiting anxiously for him. She frowned when she saw the empty pockets of his shirt. "Where's the money for tonight's meal?" she asked, worry creasing her forehead. "I'll figure something out tomorrow," Arjun assured her, forcing a smile. He didn't want to burden her with the details of what had happened. Instead, he distracted her by talking about the weather and the progress at the construction site. But as he lay down on his thin mattress later that night, staring at the cracked ceiling, his thoughts kept drifting back to the woman and her unborn child. Little did Arjun realize that his simple act of kindness had set off a chain reaction. Somewhere across town, in a world completely foreign to him, a wealthy couple sat together in their luxurious home. The man, dressed in an expensive suit, listened intently as his wife recounted the story of how a poor boy had saved her life, and possibly the life of their child. "What's his name again?" the man asked, his tone serious yet tinged with admiration. "Arjun," the woman replied, smiling faintly despite her fatigue. "He refused to take anything in return, not even my thanks." The man leaned back in his chair, deep in thought. There was something remarkable about this boy, a quality he rarely encountered in his elite circles: compassion, selflessness, integrity. These were traits worth nurturing, worth investing in. And so, unbeknownst to Arjun, plans were already being made to repay his kindness in ways he could never imagine. For now, however, Arjun remained blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in his favor. All he knew was that he had done the right thing, just as his mother had taught him. That knowledge alone was enough to bring peace to his restless mind as sleep finally claimed him. What Arjun didn't know was that fate had chosen him for something greater. This seemingly ordinary act of kindness was about to open doors he never dreamed existed, leading him down a path filled with challenges, triumphs, and ultimately, transformation. The next morning, Arjun woke up to the sound of birds chirping outside his window. He stretched lazily, still feeling a bit tired from the previous day's events. As he got ready for work, his mind kept drifting back to the pregnant woman he had helped. He wondered how she was doing and whether she and her baby were safe, but life didn't give him much time to dwell on such thoughts. By sunrise, he was already at the construction site, lifting heavy bags of cement and working tirelessly under the scorching sun. When evening came, Arjun returned home exhausted, as usual. His mother greeted him with a warm smile, handing him a plate of rice and dal. "Eat quickly," she said. "You've earned it." Arjun nodded gratefully, but before he could take a bite, there was a knock at the door. Confused, Arjun stood up and opened the door cautiously. Standing outside was a sleek black car that looked completely out of place in their modest neighborhood. The driver stepped out and opened the rear door, revealing none other than the pregnant woman he had helped the day before. Beside her stood a tall, well-dressed man with sharp features and an air of authority. Arjun froze, unsure of what to say or do. The woman smiled warmly, recognizing him immediately. "Arjun, isn't it?" she asked, her voice filled with gratitude. "We've come to thank you properly." Before Arjun could respond, the man extended his hand. "My name is Vikram," he introduced himself. "And this is my wife, Priya. You saved her life yesterday." Arjun blinked in disbelief. I only did what anyone else would have done," he stammered, shaking Vikram's hand awkwardly. Vikram chuckled softly. "Not everyone would have done what you did, Arjun. Trust me. Kindness like yours is rare these days." Priya nodded, her eyes glistening with emotion. "If it weren't for you, I don't know what might have happened to me and our baby," she said. "Please, let us repay you somehow." Arjun shook his head firmly. "There's no need, ma'am," he insisted. "I'm just glad you're okay." But Vikram wasn't about to let it go so easily. "At least allow us to sit down for a moment," he said politely. "We'd love to hear more about you." Reluctantly, Arjun invited them inside. His mother, who had been watching silently from the doorway, hurried to tidy up the small living room. She offered them chairs while Arjun stood nervously nearby, feeling out of place in front of such refined strangers. As they sat down, Vikram began asking questions about Arjun's life, his family, his work, his dreams. At first, Arjun was hesitant to share too much, but Vikram's calm demeanor put him at ease. Slowly, he opened up, talking about his struggles, his hopes for a better future, and his determination to provide for his mother. Listening intently, Vikram couldn't help but admire the young man sitting across from him. Here was someone who had every reason to lose hope, yet he remained optimistic and hard-working. There was a quiet strength in Arjun, a resilience that reminded Vikram of his younger self when he had started building his empire from scratch. After some time, Vikram leaned forward, his expression serious. Arjun, I want to be honest with you, he began. Priya and I are extremely grateful for what you did, but we also see potential in you, potential that shouldn't go to waste. Arjun frowned, confused. Potential? He repeated. Yes, Vikram continued. You have qualities that are rare in today's world. Qualities like integrity, compassion, and perseverance. We'd like to offer you a chance to improve your life. Arjun's heart raced. What did Vikram mean? Was this some kind of trick? Sensing his skepticism, Priya spoke up. Arjun, please understand, we're not doing this out of pity. We genuinely believe in you. Let us help you. Overwhelmed, Arjun glanced at his mother, who gave him a reassuring nod. Finally, he managed to find his voice. What exactly are you offering? He asked cautiously. Vikram smiled. For starters, we'll ensure your mother gets proper medical care, he said. We'll also cover your education and training so you can build a better future for yourself. In return, all we ask is that you stay true to who you are. Tears welled up in Arjun's eyes. He had dreamed of escaping poverty, of giving his mother a comfortable life, but he never imagined it could happen like this. Still, doubt lingered in his mind. Could he really step into a world so different from his own? Would he fit in? Seeing his hesitation, Vikram placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Take your time to think about it, he said kindly. But know this. We believe in you, Arjun, and we're here to support you every step of the way. That night, after Vikram and Priya left, Arjun sat quietly in the dim light of their tiny home. His mother joined him, placing a comforting hand on his arm. What are you thinking, Beta? She asked softly. I'm thinking about how much things could change, Arjun replied, his voice barely above a whisper. But I'm also scared, Ma. What if I fail? What if I disappoint them? His mother smiled gently. Failure is part of life, Arjun, she said. But remember, you've always faced challenges head-on. If Mr. Vikram and Mrs. Priya see something special in you, then maybe it's time you start seeing it too. Her words struck a chord deep within him. For years, Arjun had carried the weight of responsibility on his shoulders, believing he was destined to live a life of hardship. But now, for the first time, he allowed himself to dream of a different future, one where he wasn't defined by his circumstances. Over the next few days, Vikram and Priya became regular visitors to Arjun's home. They brought food, clothes, and medicines for his mother, who had been suffering from chronic health issues. They arranged for a doctor to visit regularly, ensuring she received the care she desperately needed. Meanwhile, Vikram began discussing plans for Arjun's education and training. One afternoon, while sitting together under the shade of a tree near the house, Vikram shared his vision with Arjun. Education is the key to unlocking opportunities, he explained. Once you have the right skills and knowledge, nothing will hold you back. But what about money? Arjun asked hesitantly. Even if I enroll in school, how will I afford it? That's where we come in, Vikram replied confidently. Consider it an investment, not just in you, but in the values you represent. People like you are rare, Arjun. The world needs more individuals who prioritize kindness and hard work over greed and selfishness. Hearing those words made Arjun feel both proud and humbled. He realized that Vikram wasn't just offering financial support. He was giving him a chance to prove himself, to show the world that someone from a humble background could rise above adversity and succeed. With newfound determination, Arjun accepted Vikram's offer. Over the following weeks, arrangements were made for him to move to the city, where he would attend a prestigious school and begin learning the skills necessary to thrive in Vikram's business empire. Though nervous about leaving his hometown and stepping into an unfamiliar world, Arjun knew this was an opportunity he couldn't pass up, not just for himself, but for his mother, who had sacrificed so much for him. On the day of his departure, the entire neighborhood gathered to bid him farewell. Friends, neighbors, and even some of his co-workers at the construction site came to wish him luck. Many envied his good fortune, but others admired him for earning it through sheer goodness. As Arjun hugged his mother goodbye, tears streamed down both their faces. Make us proud, Beta, she whispered. holding him tightly. "I will, Ma," Arjun promised, his voice choked with emotion. "I won't let you down." With that, he climbed into the car waiting outside, waving one last time before the vehicle pulled away. As the town faded into the distance, Arjun felt a mix of excitement and apprehension. He didn't know what lay ahead, but he was ready to face whatever challenges came his way. Little did he realize that this journey would test him in ways he couldn't imagine. Along the road to success, he would encounter jealousy, doubt, and moments of self-doubt. But through it all, he would hold on to the lessons he had learned growing up, the importance of kindness, humility, and perseverance. And so, with Vikram and Priya's support, Arjun embarked on a new chapter of his life, determined to make the most of the second chance he had been given. When Arjun arrived in the city, he was overwhelmed by its sheer size and energy. Towering buildings stretched toward the sky, their glass windows reflecting the sunlight like mirrors. Cars honked incessantly on busy streets, while crowds of people hurried past, each absorbed in their own world. For someone who had spent his entire life in a quiet, dusty town, this bustling metropolis felt like another planet. Vikram had arranged for Arjun to stay in a modest apartment near the school where he would begin his studies. It wasn't luxurious, but it was clean and comfortable, a far cry from the tiny house he shared with his mother back home. On his first night in the city, Arjun lay awake on the unfamiliar bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind raced with thoughts of excitement, fear, and uncertainty. Could he really adapt to this new life? Would he be able to keep up with students who had grown up surrounded by privilege? The next morning, Vikram personally picked him up and drove him to the school. As they entered the sprawling campus, Arjun's eyes widened in awe. The classrooms were equipped with the latest technology, and the library looked more like a palace than a place to study. Students walked around casually dressed in neat uniforms, chatting and laughing as if they owned the world. "This is where you'll start your journey," Vikram said, placing a reassuring hand on Arjun's shoulder. "Don't worry about fitting in right away. Focus on learning and growing." Arjun nodded, though he couldn't shake off the feeling that he didn't belong here. Everything seemed so foreign. The language spoken among students, the way they carried themselves, even the topics they discussed during breaks. While others debated global politics or the latest tech innovations, Arjun struggled to understand basic concepts taught in class. But what surprised him most was the attitude of some of his classmates. When they learned about his background, many dismissed him as a charity case. Whispers followed him wherever he went. "He's only here because Mr. Vikram feels sorry for him," one student muttered loud enough for Arjun to hear. Another sneered, "What can a poor boy possibly achieve?" At first, these comments stung deeply. Arjun began questioning whether he truly deserved to be here. Was he just a burden on Vikram and Priya? Had he bitten off more than he could chew? It was during one particularly tough day that Priya visited the school unexpectedly. She had come to check on Arjun's progress and noticed how withdrawn he seemed. After classes ended, she invited him to sit with her in the school garden. "What's troubling you, Arjun?" she asked gently, sensing his unease. For a moment, Arjun hesitated. He didn't want to appear ungrateful or weak, but finally he opened up, sharing how out of place he felt and how some students treated him differently because of his background. Priya listened patiently, her expression softening with empathy. "Let me tell you something, Arjun," she said, after a pause. "Success isn't measured by where you come from. It's determined by how hard you're willing to work to reach your goals. Those who judge you now will eat their words when they see what you're capable of achieving." Her words struck a chord within him. Priya reminded him of his mother, wise, kind, and always ready to lift him up when he faltered. Determined not to let negativity bring him down, Arjun resolved to focus on his studies and prove his critics wrong. Over the following months, Arjun threw himself into his education with renewed vigor. He spent hours studying late into the night, often falling asleep with books still open beside him. Whenever he encountered difficulties, he sought help from teachers or turned to Vikram for guidance. Slowly but surely, he began catching up with his peers. One subject that fascinated him was business management. Vikram had introduced him to the basics during their conversations, sparking an interest in entrepreneurship. Arjun devoured every book and article he could find on the topic, eager to learn how businesses operated and thrived. He even started brainstorming ideas for small ventures he could launch someday to support his community back home. Meanwhile, Vikram continued mentoring him closely. Every weekend, they met at Vikram's office where he taught Arjun the intricacies of running a multinational corporation. From analyzing market trends to negotiating deals, Arjun soaked up everything. Like a sponge. Though challenging, he found immense satisfaction in applying theoretical knowledge to real-world scenarios. But perhaps the most valuable lesson Vikram imparted was the importance of integrity. In business, as in life, your reputation is everything, Vikram emphasized. Always prioritize honesty and fairness over shortcuts or greed. That's what sets true leaders apart. As time passed, Arjun's efforts began paying off. His grades improved significantly, earning praise from teachers, who initially doubted his abilities. During group projects, his classmates started seeking his input, recognizing his creativity and dedication. Even those who once mocked him began treating him with respect. However, the road wasn't without its hurdles. There were moments when self-doubt crept back in, especially when faced with complex assignments or high-stakes exams. But each time Arjun reminded himself of why he was doing this, for his mother, for Vikram and Priya, and most importantly, for himself. One evening, after acing a particularly difficult test, Arjun sat alone in his apartment reflecting on how far he'd come. Just a year ago, he was hauling bricks under the scorching sun, unsure if he'd ever escape poverty. Now he was excelling in academics, gaining practical experience in one of the country's largest companies, and building a foundation for a brighter future. Feeling grateful, he decided to write letters to his mother and Vikram and Priya, updating them on his progress. To his mother, he wrote about his achievements and assured her that her sacrifices hadn't been in vain. To Vikram and Priya, he expressed heartfelt thanks for believing in him and giving him this opportunity. A few days later, Vikram called him to his office. "I received your letter," he said, smiling warmly. "You've made us proud, Arjun. But remember, this is just the beginning. You have the potential to accomplish great things." Encouraged by Vikram's faith in him, Arjun set his sights higher. He began participating in extracurricular activities, joining clubs focused on innovation and leadership. One project involved designing a sustainable farming solution aimed at helping rural communities increase crop yields. Not only did it win first prize at a regional competition, but it also reignited Arjun's passion for uplifting others like himself. Through all these experiences, Arjun remained grounded. Despite the glitz and glamour of city life, he never forgot his roots. Whenever possible, he sent money home to his mother and visited her during holidays. He also volunteered at local shelters, teaching underprivileged children basic skills and inspiring them to dream big. By the end of his first year in the city, Arjun had transformed in ways he never imagined. Gone was the shy, uncertain boy who doubted his place in the world. In his stead stood a confident young man ready to take on whatever challenges lay ahead. Yet as much as he had grown, Arjun knew there was still a long way to go. Success wasn't handed to anyone. It had to be earned through relentless effort and perseverance. With Vikram and Priya's unwavering support, he was determined to continue climbing the ladder, one step at a time. And so, as the sun set over the city skyline, casting golden hues across the horizon, Arjun allowed himself a rare moment of pride. He had overcome countless obstacles to get here, and he knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. But deep down, he believed that as long as he stayed true to himself, nothing could stop him from achieving his dreams. Little did he realize, however, that fate had yet another twist in store, one that would test his resolve and redefine his purpose in ways he couldn't foresee. As months turned into years, Arjun's transformation became undeniable. He wasn't just surviving in this new world, he was thriving. His grades soared, earning him scholarships and accolades from teachers who now praised him openly. Even his classmates, once skeptical of his presence, began looking up to him as a role model. But what truly set Arjun apart was his ability to balance ambition with humility. Despite his growing achievements, he never forgot where he came from or the values instilled in him by his mother and mentors like Vikram and Priya. Vikram continued mentoring Arjun closely, guiding him through the complexities of running a business empire. Every weekend they met at Vikram's sprawling office, discussing strategies, reviewing case studies, and analyzing global markets. For Arjun, these sessions were more than lessons. They were opportunities to learn directly from one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the country. One day, after going over quarterly reports, Vikram leaned back in his chair, his expression thoughtful. "Arjun," he began, "you've come a long way since we first met. You've proven yourself capable, hardworking, and trustworthy. Now it's time for you to take on bigger responsibilities." Arjun looked up, surprised. "What do you mean, sir?" "I want you to join our team full-time," Vikram replied. "Not as an intern or assistant, but as a junior executive. You'll be working alongside senior leaders, contributing ideas and managing projects. It won't be easy, but I believe you're ready." For a moment, Arjun was speechless. This was the opportunity he had dreamed of, a chance to step into the corporate world and make a real impact. Yet, alongside excitement, doubt crept in. Could he handle such immense responsibility? Would others respect him? Or would they see him as nothing more than Vikram's charity project? Sensing his hesitation, Vikram smiled. "Don't worry about proving yourself to anyone else," he said firmly. "Prove it to yourself. Trust in your abilities, Arjun. That's all that matters." With renewed determination, Arjun accepted the offer. Over the next few weeks, he immersed himself in his new role, learning the ropes quickly and impressing colleagues with his innovative ideas and problem-solving skills. One of his earliest assignments involved revamping a struggling division within Vikram's company. The task seemed daunting. Morale was low, profits were shrinking, and employees felt disconnected from leadership. Instead of imposing drastic changes, Arjun took a different approach. He spent days listening to workers' concerns, understanding their challenges and identifying areas for improvement. Drawing inspiration from his own experiences growing up poor, he emphasized teamwork, empathy, and transparency. Slowly but surely, morale improved, productivity increased, and the division began turning a profit again. Word of Arjun's success spread throughout the organization. Senior executives, initially skeptical of his rapid rise, started taking notice. They admired not only his competence but also his ability to connect with people across all levels of the company. But not everyone was pleased with Arjun's progress. Some colleagues resented him, believing he had been handed opportunities they deserved. Others whispered behind his back, questioning whether his achievements were genuine or simply a result of Vikram's favoritism. Among them was Ravi, a senior manager who had worked tirelessly for years to climb the corporate ladder. To him, Arjun represented everything wrong with modern business practices. A poor boy given privileges he hadn't earned. Determined to expose what he saw as hypocrisy, Ravi began scrutinizing Arjun's work, looking for mistakes or weaknesses to exploit. One evening during a high-stakes meeting, Ravi launched a subtle attack. "Arjun has done well so far," he said, addressing the board. "But let's not forget how much support he's received along the way. Perhaps it's time we evaluate whether his contributions are truly sustainable without external assistance." The room fell silent, tension thickening the air. All eyes turned to Arjun, waiting for his response. For a brief moment, he felt anger bubbling inside him. How dare Ravi dismiss his hard work and dedication? But then he remembered Vikram's advice: stay calm, stay composed. "Thank you for your feedback, Ravi," Arjun said evenly, meeting his gaze. "I understand your concerns and I appreciate the opportunity to address them. Yes, I've received guidance and support from Mr. Vikram and others, but every decision I've made, every strategy I've implemented, has been based on careful analysis and collaboration. My goal isn't to prove myself to anyone. It's to contribute meaningfully to this company and its mission." His words silenced the critics. Even Ravi, though reluctant to admit it, couldn't help but respect Arjun's composure and professionalism. From that day forward, the whispers faded, replaced by growing admiration for a young man who refused to let negativity define him. Despite overcoming professional challenges, Arjun faced personal struggles too. Living in the city meant being away from his mother, whom he missed dearly. Though she encouraged him to focus on his career, Arjun often worried about her health and loneliness. During visits home, he noticed how frail she had become, her once strong hands now trembling slightly as she cooked meals for him. Determined to provide her with a better life, Arjun saved every penny he earned, refusing to indulge in luxuries despite having access to them. With Vikram's blessing, he purchased a small house near their old neighborhood, ensuring his mother could live comfortably while remaining close to familiar surroundings. "You've done so much for me, Beta," his mother said one evening, tears in her eyes as she stood in the doorway of their new home. "I'm so proud of you." Her words filled Arjun with warmth, reminding him why he worked so hard. Success wasn't just about wealth or status. It was about creating a better future for those he loved. As his reputation grew, so did his influence. Arjun used his position to advocate for causes close to his heart. Inspired by his childhood struggles, he launched initiatives aimed at uplifting underprivileged communities. Scholarships were created for students like him, vocational training programs were introduced for unemployed youth, and partnerships were formed with local farmers to improve agricultural practices. Through these efforts, Arjun discovered a deeper purpose. While climbing the corporate ladder brought satisfaction, helping others achieve their dreams gave him true fulfillment. He realized that success wasn't measured by titles or bank balances. It was defined by the lives touched and transformed along the way. By the end of his third year in the city, Arjun had risen to become one of the youngest executives in Vikram's company. His name was mentioned in boardroom discussions, featured in industry magazines, and celebrated at award ceremonies. Yet amidst all the accolades, he remained grounded, always remembering the lessons learned from his humble beginnings. One evening, as he stood on the balcony of his modest apartment overlooking the glittering city skyline, Arjun reflected on his journey. From a poor boy struggling to survive in a dusty town to a respected leader admired by many, his transformation seemed almost surreal. But what touched him most was the bond he shared with Vikram and Priya. They weren't just benefactors. They were family. Looking ahead, Arjun knew there would be more challenges to face, more obstacles to overcome. But he also knew he wasn't alone. With unwavering support from those who believed in him, he was ready to tackle whatever lay ahead. Little did he realize, however, that fate had yet another chapter in store, one that would test his resolve, redefine his legacy, and solidify his place in history. As the years rolled by, Arjun's influence continued to grow. He wasn't just an executive anymore. He was a visionary leader who inspired those around him. His innovative ideas and compassionate approach earned him recognition not only within Vikram's company, but also across industries. People began referring to him as the boy who changed the game, a testament to how far he had come since that fateful day when he helped a stranger at a bus stop. But success brought its own set of challenges. With greater visibility came increased scrutiny. Journalists wrote stories about his meteoric rise, often exaggerating details or focusing on his humble origins rather than his achievements. Some critics dismissed his accomplishments as mere luck, claiming he owed everything to Vikram's generosity. Others accused him of being overly ambitious, suggesting he might abandon his roots now that he had entered elite circles. Despite the noise, Arjun stayed true to himself. He knew better than anyone that his journey hadn't been easy. It had been paved with hard work, resilience, and countless sacrifices. And while he appreciated Vikram and Priya's support, he understood that their belief in him was rooted in merit, not charity. Every milestone he achieved was a reflection of his determination to prove himself, not just to them, but to the world. One evening, after delivering a keynote speech at a prestigious business summit, Arjun received a call from Vikram. "We need to talk," Vikram said, his tone unusually serious. The next morning, Arjun arrived at Vikram's office, curious about what could be so urgent. When he entered, he found both Vikram and Priya waiting for him. Their expressions were grave, and for a moment Arjun felt a pang of unease. "Arjun," Vikram began, "there's something you should know. My health has been deteriorating recently. The doctors say I may not have much time left." Arjun's heart sank. Vikram had always seemed invincible, a pillar of strength and wisdom. Hearing this news felt like a punch to the gut. "No, sir, please tell me there's something they can do," he stammered, struggling to process the information. Priya placed a comforting hand on Arjun's shoulder. "There's nothing more the doctors can do," she said softly. "But before anything happens, we need to ensure the company is in good hands. That's why we've decided to appoint you as CEO." Arjun stared at them in disbelief. "Me? But I'm not ready for such a huge responsibility," he protested. "You are," Vikram insisted, his voice firm despite his frail appearance. "You've proven yourself time and again. You understand our values, our mission. Most importantly, you care about people, the employees, the customers, the communities we serve. That's what makes you the perfect choice." Tears welled up in Arjun's eyes. This wasn't just a promotion, it was a legacy. Vikram and Priya were entrusting him with their life's work, believing in him enough to carry forward their vision. Overwhelmed but determined, Arjun accepted the role. Over the following months, Vikram mentored him intensively, preparing him for the responsibilities ahead. They discussed strategies, reviewed long-term plans, and addressed potential challenges. Through it all, Arjun absorbed every word, knowing this would be his final lessons from the man who had changed his life forever. When the inevitable finally happened and Vikram passed away peacefully surrounded by loved ones, Arjun grieved deeply. Losing Vikram felt like losing a second father. Yet amidst the sorrow, he found solace in the knowledge that he had made Vikram proud. As the new CEO, Arjun faced immense pressure. Skeptics questioned whether someone so young could lead a multinational corporation effectively. Competitors saw an opportunity to exploit the transition period, launching aggressive campaigns to undermine the company's market position. Internally, some senior executives doubted Arjun's ability to maintain stability during such uncertain times. But Arjun refused to buckle under the weight of expectations. Drawing inspiration from Vikram's leadership style, he focused on transparency, collaboration, and innovation. He held town hall meetings to address employee concerns, implemented policies to improve workplace culture, and invested heavily in research and development. Under his guidance, the company not only weathered the storm but emerged stronger than ever. One of Arjun's proudest achievements was expanding the initiatives he had started earlier. Scholarships for underprivileged students grew into full-fledged educational programs. Vocational training centers spread across rural areas, empowering thousands of unemployed youth. Partnerships with local farmers led to sustainable agricultural practices that improved livelihoods and reduced environmental impact. Through these efforts, Arjun became more than a CEO. He became a symbol of hope for millions. Stories of his kindness and perseverance inspired others to believe in their own potential. Children in remote villages dreamed of becoming leaders like him, while entrepreneurs looked up to him as proof that success was attainable regardless of one's background. Tandi. The personal front, Arjun's life blossomed too. During a charity event, he met Meera, a social worker dedicated to improving education for marginalized communities. Her passion and compassion resonated deeply with him, and over time, their friendship blossomed into love. Together, they shared a vision of creating a better world, one where everyone had equal opportunities to succeed. A few years later, Arjun and Meera married in a simple yet heartfelt ceremony, attended by close friends and family. Priya, who had become like a second mother to Arjun, gave a touching speech about how proud Vikram would have been to see the man Arjun had become. As the years passed, Arjun continued breaking barriers and setting benchmarks. His company ranked among the top in its industry, known not only for profitability, but also for its commitment to social responsibility. Governments and organizations worldwide sought his advice on poverty alleviation and sustainable development. Yet, despite all his accomplishments, Arjun remained humble. He often visited his hometown, sitting under the same tree where he used to dream of escaping poverty. Sometimes he'd bring his children along, sharing stories of his struggles and triumphs. "Never forget where you come from," he told them. "Success isn't about wealth or titles. It's about staying grounded, helping others, and making a difference." Looking back, Arjun realized that his journey had come full circle. What began as a simple act of kindness had transformed into a lifetime of purpose. He had risen from poverty to prosperity, proving that even the smallest gestures could lead to unimaginable outcomes. And so, Arjun's story became a beacon of hope, a reminder that true greatness lies not in material possessions, but in the lives we touch and the legacies we leave behind. For Arjun, the poor boy who once helped a pregnant stranger, success wasn't just about achieving dreams. It was about inspiring others to chase theirs. With each passing year, his impact rippled outward, touching countless lives and shaping futures. And though he never sought fame or glory, his name echoed through generations as a testament to the power of kindness, integrity, and perseverance. In the end, Arjun didn't just change his own destiny, he changed the world, one selfless act at a time,